Every billion has a story. Every story has a lesson. Every lesson has the power to change the way you think. Welcome to Hidden Billion, where the world's greatest fortunes reveal their greatest lessons.
Imagine it's a Saturday morning. You've made a simple plan. Drive to IKEA, buy one bookshelf, head home, nothing more. You've already decided where it will go. You've measured the wall. You even know the exact model you're looking for. This should be one of the easiest shopping trips of the year. So you walk through the entrance, confident you'll be back in your car within 15 minutes. But something unexpected happens, not all at once. Little by little, you slow down. A beautifully designed living room catches your eye, then a modern kitchen, a cozy bedroom, an office you'd love to work in. Without realizing it, you're no longer shopping for a bookshelf. You're imagining a different home, somewhere along the way. A scented candle finds its way into your cart, then a storage box, a lamp, a set of drinking glasses, maybe a plant. None of these were on your shopping list. Yet, somehow, each purchase feels completely reasonable. By the time you reach the checkout, the bookshelf you came for has become only one small part of what you're taking home. And if this has ever happened to you, you're far from alone. Every day, millions of people walk into IKEA with a plan, and many leave with something entirely different. Most people believe this happens because IKEA sells beautiful furniture, and that's certainly part of the story, but it's not the whole story. Because long before you picked up that candle, long before you stopped to admire that perfectly designed living room, long before your shopping cart began to fill, a decision had already been made, not by you, but by the people who designed the journey you were about to take. Every turn, every display, every room, every shortcut, every pause, none of it exists by accident. What if one of the world's most successful furniture companies wasn't simply selling products? What if it was carefully designing an experience that inspires millions of people every year to see possibilities they hadn't imagined before walking through the front door? An experience that changed the way modern retail works. Today, we're uncovering the strategy behind one of the most recognizable shopping experiences on Earth, not to expose a trick, but to understand a masterpiece of business design. Because behind every billion-dollar company, there is a decision that changes everything, and this is the story of IKEA. Long before IKEA became one of the world's largest furniture companies, before the blue buildings, before the famous meatballs, before millions of families walked through its doors every year, there was a young boy growing up on a small farm in southern Sweden. His name was Ingvar Kamprad. And unlike most children his age, Ingvar didn't dream about becoming rich. He was fascinated by something much simpler: selling. Even as a child, Ingvar looked for opportunities where others saw ordinary things. He bought matches in bulk, then rode his bicycle around the neighborhood, selling them one box at a time. When demand changed, he sold pens, Christmas decorations, fish, flower seeds, anything people needed, to most people. These were small sales. To Ingvar, they were lessons. He was quietly learning a principle that would shape the rest of his life. If you can make something affordable enough, more people can own it. That idea would eventually transform an entire industry. In 1943, at just 17 years old, Ingvar founded a small mail-order business. He called it IKEA, not because it sounded modern, but because it was personal. The name IKEA came from 4 places that shaped his life: I for Ingvar, K for Kamprad, A for Elmteryd, the family farm where he grew up, and A for Agunnaryd, the small Swedish village he called home. At the time, IKEA wasn't selling furniture at all. It sold whatever people were willing to buy: pens, wallets, picture frames, small household goods, whatever could be delivered through the mail. But as the years passed, one category stood above the rest: furniture. To understand why, you have to imagine Europe after the Second World War, Millions of families were rebuilding their lives. Homes needed tables, beds, chairs, storage. But for many people, furniture wasn't just expensive, it was out of reach. Buying a dining table often meant paying craftsmen to build it. Transporting it was difficult, delivery was expensive, and quality furniture was seen as something reserved for those who could afford it. Ingvar believed that made no sense. He asked a question that would define IKEA for decades. Why should good design only belong to wealthy people? It was a simple question, but it challenged an entire industry. Instead of building luxury furniture, he wanted to build furniture that ordinary families could actually afford. Not cheap furniture, affordable furniture. There was a difference. Affordable meant making smart decisions, not lowering standards. Then came the moment that changed everything. One afternoon, a table was being prepared for transport. There was a problem. It simply wouldn't fit. So someone made a decision that sounded almost too simple to matter. They removed the table's legs. Suddenly, it fit. That small idea became one of the greatest innovations in modern retail. Instead of shipping fully assembled furniture, IKEA would let customers assemble it themselves. Today we call it flat pack furniture, but at the time, it completely changed the economics of the business. Smaller packages meant more products could fit on every truck. Warehouses became more efficient, shipping costs fell dramatically, and those savings could be passed on to customers. Most companies tried to reduce costs by cutting quality. IKEA reduced costs by redesigning the entire system, and that is a pattern you'll see again and again throughout this story. The world's most successful companies rarely win because they make one brilliant product. They win because they build a brilliant system. But even after reinventing furniture, Ingvar Kamprad wasn't finished, because solving the problem of affordability was only half the challenge. The next question was even more interesting. How do you create a shopping experience that people don't just visit, but remember? The answer would become one of the most recognizable retail strategies in the world. And it all began with the way people walk. Imagine walking into IKEA again, but this time, don't look at the furniture, look at the building itself, because before you see a single sofa, before you sit in a single chair, before you even think about buying anything, something has already happened. You've entered a carefully designed journey. At first glance, it almost feels like a maze. The path twists, it turns. Room after room unfolds before you. Living rooms, bedrooms, kitchens, home offices, children's spaces. Every corner invites you to keep walking. And unlike most furniture stores, there isn't a straight line to the checkout. That design wasn't created by accident, it was created with intention. Notice something. No one is rushing you. No one is telling you what to buy. There are no salespeople following you. Instead, the store quietly tells a story. One room becomes another. One idea inspires the next. You don't just see a couch, you see an entire living room. You don't just see a dining table, you imagine family dinners. You don't just see shelves, you picture your own home becoming more organized. Without realizing it, you've stopped shopping for products. You've started imagining a better version of your life. And that's one of IKEA's greatest strengths. It doesn't sell furniture first, it sells possibility. This is something psychologists have studied for decades. People rarely make decisions based on logic alone. We buy with emotion, then justify with logic. A comfortable chair isn't just comfortable. It becomes the chair where you'll read your favorite book. A warm lamp isn't just lighting. It becomes the feeling of home after a long day. IKEA understands this, not by telling customers what to imagine, but by creating spaces where imagination happens naturally, and then something subtle begins to happen. You notice a candle, a picture frame, a blanket, kitchen utensils, storage containers. None of them are expensive on their own. Most feel like easy decisions. Why not? It's only a few dollars. I could use this. One item becomes another, then another. By the time you reach the marketplace, your shopping cart tells a completely different story than your shopping list. Not because anyone pressured you, but because every step exposed you to ideas you hadn't considered before. Retail experts call this product exposure. The more opportunities customers have to discover products in meaningful contexts, the more likely they are to remember them, consider them, and sometimes purchase them. That's not manipulation. That's thoughtful merchandising combined with an understanding of human behavior. Then comes another brilliant decision. After inspiring you with beautifully designed rooms, IKEA leads you into the marketplace. Here, the atmosphere changes. Instead of complete rooms, you're surrounded by hundreds of smaller home accessories. The candle you noticed earlier, the matching plates, the storage baskets, cushions, the glasses, items that are affordable, easy to carry, and surprisingly difficult to resist once you've imagined them in your own home. Only after you've explored both inspiration and accessories do you finally arrive at the warehouse, where the larger furniture waits, flat packed and ready to take home. The entire journey feels effortless, but behind that effortless experience is a system refined over decades. Every section has a purpose, every transition has a purpose. Even the restaurant, placed roughly halfway through many stores, has a purpose. Because when people are comfortable, when they're rested, they're more likely to continue exploring rather than cutting their visit short. It's not just a place to eat, it's part of the experience. The genius of IKEA isn't that it forces people to buy, it doesn't. Customers remain free to choose every item that enters their cart. The genius is something much more powerful. IKEA designs an environment where discovering products feels enjoyable instead of overwhelming, where inspiration feels natural instead of intentional, where a shopping trip becomes an experience people willingly spend hours enjoying, and perhaps that's the most remarkable part of all. Millions of people around the world know exactly what an IKEA visit feels like, because they're not just visiting a furniture store, they're experiencing one of the most carefully designed retail journeys ever created. Music rises toward a dramatic crescendo, but a beautifully designed experience is only valuable if it produces extraordinary results. So, did it? Let's look at the numbers. So, did it work? The answer is written across the world. From a small Swedish mail-order business founded by a 17-year-old entrepreneur, IKEA has grown into one of the largest furniture retailers on Earth. Hundreds of stores, millions of customers every year. A brand recognized in countries across the globe. Not because it built the most expensive furniture, not because it hired the most aggressive salespeople, and not because it had the biggest advertising budget. It grew because it understood something many businesses still struggle to understand today. Products matter, but experiences matter even more. Think about it. Two companies can sell almost the same chair, built from similar materials at similar prices. Yet one company creates a memorable experience, while the other simply completes a transaction. One becomes a destination, the other becomes a store. That's the difference between selling furniture and designing an experience people remember. What's fascinating is that IKEA never really sold tables or lamps or bookshelves. It sold possibilities. The possibility of a first apartment, a child's bedroom, a growing family's dining room, a quiet corner to read, a workspace for a dream. Furniture was never the destination. It was the tool that helped people build the life they imagined. And perhaps that's why millions of customers return again and again. There are entrepreneurs watching this documentary today, business owners, creators, students, people with ideas they hope will become something bigger. If that's you, IKEA's story offers lessons far beyond retail. The first lesson: don't just build a product, build an experience. People remember how you make them feel long after they've forgotten what you sold them. The second lesson: design every step intentionally. Success rarely comes from one brilliant moment. It comes from hundreds of thoughtful decisions working together: a website, a package, an email, a customer conversation, a store layout, a product box. Individually, they seem small, Together, they become a system, and systems create businesses that last. The third lesson, make great design accessible. Ingvar Kamprad believed good furniture shouldn't belong only to the wealthy. That philosophy transformed IKEA into a global company. The businesses that endure often ask the same question: how can we bring something valuable to more people? Not, how can we charge more? And finally, perhaps the most important lesson of all, the companies that change industries don't always invent something completely new. Sometimes, they simply see old problems from a different perspective. Everyone else focused on building better furniture. IKEA asked, what if we redesign the entire journey? That single question changed everything. It's easy to look at companies like IKEA and see only the finished result, the global brand, the crowded parking lots, the iconic blue buildings, but every billion-dollar company begins the same way, with a problem, a question, and one person willing to think differently. That's the story behind IKEA. But more importantly, it's the lesson behind IKEA. Every billion has a story, every story has a lesson, and every lesson has the power to change the way we think. This is Hidden Billion. Until next time, keep asking better questions, because the next billion-dollar idea may be hiding in plain sight.